The Kyoto Protocol was the first global initiative towards climate change policy. The goal of the Kyoto Protocol was to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to below the 1990 level. Countries had two choices to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The first choice is to implement renewable energy into the economy, and the second choice is to uh, implement a cap-and-trade system. The cap-and-trade system works in a manner in which countries that are unable to implement renewables into their economy, or if countries exceed the limit of carbon dioxide that the Kyoto Protocol has left, they can trade with another country who has not exceeded the emissions. The US did not ratify this protocol, but the rest of the world has, and the signal to the rest of the world that the United States had weak federal climate change policy. Specifically, the conception is the rest of the world looks to the US for leadership, but the perception around the world is that the US has not been very active in this area, and that US climate change policy would undoubtedly reestablish confidence in US leadership on critical and global issues. And now we have to look at reasons why there's been a lack of U.S. federal energy policy. It is not because the U.S. lacks a supply of renewable energy policy. According to the Union of Concerned Scientists, there is enough renewable energy in the United States for 20% of the United States energy needs to be supplied by renewable sources. Federal investment has heavily been in fossil fuels, including coal, which is why we haven't seen much investment in alternative energies compared to fossil fuels. In the history of fossil fuel use, the fossil fuel industry has received $300 billion in subsidies and tax incentives despite the windfall profits that they had received. One of the reasons for this is coal is a primary source of energy in the United States. There is enough coal in the United States to last another 250 years, and according to Kathleen McKinney, who is a founding partner of the Paragon Technology Partners, said that coal reserves are found to be even larger than they were previously expected to be, and the cost of excavating that coal is less than previously estimated. Coal is the cheapest form of renewable energy, and consumers do not want to pay the extra expense for renewable sources, and companies and utilities don't want to invest in renewable energy because it is more expensive when looking at the pure cost. Federal policy has focused on clean coal generation and nuclear installations, but has not done much in the way of implementing renewable energy into the economy. The U.S. has set up its own standard apart from Kyoto, but it has never defined what the standard is. And what has the U.S. federal government done in the sense of setting up an alternative energy standard is what we have to look to. And there are two policies that come to mind. First, the Energy Policy Act of 2005, and secondly, the Energy Policy Act of 2007. These two acts focused mainly on incentivizing alternative energy for the consumer to make it more cost competitive. A renewable portfolio standard was originally included within this legislation, but it was removed from the final version of the bill. I will further explain what the renewable portfolio standard and renewable energy credits are later on within the speech.